what we can say is that we have that help in correcting things, because we can't figure out that. When that is resolved, then definitely we'll provide public information. Anybody else? David, did you want to say anything?
No, I'll wait for the final results. Thanks, man.
Citizen input's done. I guess we're going to terms report.
I did give you an update as to what Marin had sent me on the diligence. There was 2 contesters, and he gave a timeline as to what he had planned to do with it. It's on there. It is attorney-client privilege, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak on this. One point, some of this to Mr. Collins, because I know he's got something going in the background. This is some of the items that I was bringing up when I informed the board about the possibility of raising the lake level. That was part of basically a lawsuit years ago. And it's also one of the reasons we're about to lose 1 foot of vertical storage in our current reservoir. So this is pretty serious what you're seeing in this attorney's report. This has been going on for many, many years, and I believe that if we could get a little bit of help so that we can move forward, as the board had discussed, with the possibility of expanding the levee and possibly even moving into the second reservoir. But the expansion would save us drastically when it comes to due diligence and the can and will doctrine. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else?
So, if I may, I'm not quite sure if this is the proper place to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. Some of this stuff, including this here, I believe we have an opportunity to get money to fix a lot of our infrastructure right now. I know that I've discussed it with you. Me and Neil went and discussed it with some county commissioners. I can't stress enough to everybody, and I'm going to put all this on you, Jim. I can't stress enough, and I realize I'm just one board of directors, but we really got to go after this money like it's our, if we don't get it, we die type attitude.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And that's, I appreciate you guys going up and dealing with them, because I did have Epi come down. I took him around for about 3 hours, showed him what our situation was like and what it is and where we need the help. And he was very positive in his actions and stuff. So I do have a meeting with them Thursday at 2:30 that I will be attending, either in person or by Zoom. They gave me either choice. So I'd like to be there in person for it and go through our list of what we need to do. Like I said, we have, first of all, major issues, which is compliance with our tanks. The second is compliance with the dam. Third would be our infrastructure in any changing of some of these old cast iron lines to putting, and even the cement lines that we do have, getting them replaced. So I did talk to GMS, which is an engineering firm out of Springs that I'm familiar with, and did a lot of work with, and they're looking at coming down and setting up maybe a game plan with me and looking to get it, and looking at getting administrative grants through DOLA to help them with that engineering costs and stuff that we're gonna have to go with. So,
And I believe you've probably already been informed, but the county has a grant writer on staff now.
yeah,
That was informally basically offered to us.
okay.
So we need to make sure we take full advantage of that, in my opinion.
And we did have some residents here. I know, Mr. Schaefer, Cindy, his wife called the representatives and stuff, so I have gotten contacts from, Senator Hickenlooper, expressing to him that, yeah, he needs to know that there's rural communities that are special districts that need money, not just these cities, which that's where the USDA and stuff is pushing for the cities, while the rural areas need it more than the cities because they've been here longer and they don't have that revenue that a big city might get. So,
As a follow-up, Mr. Collins, it's dire. We must expand the reservoir, repair the dam in that section, or we will lose not just a foot of level this year, but a total of probably 3 feet of level, and we will lose our conditional rights, in my opinion. It's that dire. We are not even, at this point, from this legal brief that I just read, we're not even guaranteed to get past diligence now. And we're going to lose the level. So, it is extremely dire at this point. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Correct me if I'm not, if I'm wrong, but wasn't Mr. Craig, wasn't he supposed to check with the water man to see if the records that he's been doing all the time were up to date because the state didn't have them? And if those were correct, then that kind of takes some heat off of us. Is that not correct?
I think, Greg, did you talk to him again?
I sent him a couple of messages and I have not heard back from him.
But did you find,
I got the files.
did you find those reports though?
Yeah, I've got a whole.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, they have to mesh together.
I see, and that's where I think I might be confused. I'm not really sure. I do a monthly read every month. So I don't know what he's saying we're missing.
Mr. Huckstetter, I think you're on the right track there, but it's my understanding of talking to the engineer and another water lawyer that because we didn't turn it into the proper department at the proper time, it really doesn't count at this point. However, according to the engineer, we may have some swing if we go ahead and produce those back documents. It's not guaranteed at this point.
I just have a problem with, I just have a problem since 2013, reports not going to the state that need to be filed by whoever. I just have a problem with that. And why it took 7, 8 years to come to a head right now. It doesn't make sense. But I think if we get the grants and stuff together to get the monies for the dam survey and get some things together, it will help us. But I think it's important that they communicate to find out what's missing and where our documents are and get it up to date. End of sermon.
We move forward.
Mr. Chairman, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did, I'm sorry. David Shipley. So what grants are the Metro, I mean, what grants are we looking at? Is it, are you guys looking at?
We have
ARPA money or ARPA?
ARPA, we have also the revolving, Colorado's revolving water grants through it. Because when they gave the money for the rural, the governor put some of it in that revolving water fund, and then gave it to each county. So we got the county that we're looking at, plus then the revolving fund for infrastructure build outs.
So is that part of the federal stimulus that's coming to the
Yes.
state? Because there's another 100 million coming.
Yeah, there's more coming, so I seen that they just passed that this morning, or yesterday morning. The Senate did, so.
Suggestions?
So just to kind of throw a little bit out there, when me and him sat down with the county commissioners, understand the reason why I'm trying to emphasize all this and really get it nailed into everybody's heads, that we got to go after this like it's our life depending on it, is that there's a lot of people going after that money. There's already $178 million applied for $80 million. So now, I think that with our infrastructure being in the shape it is, we may receive some favorability, but I want to emphasize may. And it is, I can't emphasize enough how important it is that we get all of our T's crossed, all of our I's dotted, and get everything into them as soon as possible and as thoroughly as possible that we can. And if anybody's good at writing this stuff, I mean, I'm going to be the first one to admit that I don't have a clue about writing this stuff. But if anybody in the community is good at writing this stuff or has done it in the past and wants to volunteer their time to help, I would love to see them come forward. Because this is something that I truly, truly believe is important for all of us to get on board and get this done. Because this money, I don't know how long this money's going to last, but there's a lot of people trying to grab it. And we need to be very good at trying to get ours.
So Greg, this has come up before. Just looking at our budget and the amount of money that we are forced to operate on, which is really hard to do. I have recommended, grants, anything that we can get prior to all of this emergency water situation, because that's how we're going to survive. That's how other local governments survive, is they are dependent on grants. And since all of our revenues appear to be static, that's the only way that we can get ahead.
I agree 100%.
I want to respond to Ms. Collins and the folks in attendance as well. Now, I don't want to pick on people, but we're to the point that we must fight for every single dollar. And I don't want to say, oh, we filed it. It goes back to, as one of the other directors down here mentioned, the problem since 2014. We don't want to file something and wait. We want to be beating on that door. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? We've got to make sure they got it and got exactly what they want. Not that we filed it, but we want to make sure, do you need anything else? I yield.
And to his point, that is exactly what Director Ortiz told me last week. He said, and I'm going to be blowing his phone up, but I'm going to need information from you to blow his phone up later. But he said we need to keep this out in front. Don't let them forget about us. We need to make sure that we're constantly calling them, constantly putting this out there. Because I agree, we just can't file it into ARPA and be done with it. We got to be the squeaky wheel.
Yep.
So did the district submit information to the website as far as projects that you would like?
Yes, we did.
Great.
I think we're going to update that. We're going to submit a few more.
Yeah.
It was mentioned about a grant writer being available through the county. Is that going to be at our discretion to use this person? Somebody mentioned that there, I forget who it was, that the grant writer was going to be available through the county government.
So when we talked with Mr. Ortiz, he said that they've got a grant writer now on staff. that they were going to, I don't know how available they're going to make the grant writer to us, because I'm sure they've got a million things to do.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that grant writer was going to be available for us to use. I couldn't tell you the in-depth availability of it.
Probably more assistance rather than doing that.
Yeah.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim, let's move on.
Okay, agenda items. Resolution 08-2021, amending rules and regulations. Just had a public hearing on it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt Resolution 08-2021, resolution of the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District, amending rules and regulations to add provisions regarding architectural review, approval, and covenant enforcement.
I'll second that motion. Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I call the question.
Harry, how you vote?
Yes?
I was voting for you just in case you forgot. Yes. Other Harry, how you vote?
Yes.
Greg? Bob?
Yes.
Jim? Chair votes yes. Motion passed.
Okay, next, resolution 09-2021 for indemnification of volunteers.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution 09-2021, resolution of the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District, providing for the indemnification of volunteers.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Let's vote. Bob?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Harry? Yes. Harry?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Passed.
Okay, next is designation of members for Colorado Special District Property and Casualty or POLP. That would be Yvonne and myself as designees.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the document in front of me, setting James P. Ecker and Yvonne Barron as representatives.
Wait a second.
And have Neil
I'll
sign it.
second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Harry?
Yes.
Harry? Yep. Harry?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Bob?
Yes.
Okay, last thing on the agenda items is land sales. You have two of them, Unit 18, parcel number 4723300002.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to decline both of these offers.
Let's do it separately. Did you amend your motion to second?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, motion and second. I'll second. Discussion. I would rather vote on them separately.
I would too, actually.
I would three.
All right, been moved and seconded. We're gonna vote on this one.
You're gonna have to vote
Want
on
to vote on
that motion
Vote
first.
on this one. Harry, how do you vote?
No.
Good.
No.
Chair votes no. Bob?
No.
Okay, so I would make a motion at this time on land sales of Unit 18, parcel 47233000002, that we decline the offer.
And I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
Call the question?
Let's take a vote. Harry, how do you vote?
Yes.
Harry? Yes. Good?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We decline the offer.
Okay, next land sale is Unit 27, Lot 4.
Mr. Chairman, in the interest of trying to be appreciative of the tremendous amount of money that's being spent on the disc golf course for the benefit of all Colorado City, and weighing that with the value of the property as it is now. I would move that we would counter the offer on Unit 27, Lot 4, with the price of $3,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Move in second, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak on that. I pretty much like what the director's offering. I would point out to the board that this golf, frisbee golf, disc golf, whatever you call it, was offered to us without strings attached. So I understand being appreciative, but I don't think the two are tied together. I yield.
I call the question.
Mr. Cook, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Chair votes no. Motion passes.
Okay, old business. Still there, guys, sorry. Been busy doing other things, trying to get water situation going. We'll get them taken care of as soon as we get some help here. Like I said, we do have ads out for help. If anybody knows anybody that would like, I haven't done that. I'll put it on Facebook
On
next,
Facebook,
and we'll put it in ads in the other two papers close to us. I know the biggest concern is response time. We should have a 30-minute response time if they are not living in Colorado City. You know, that's one of our big concerns, is if they're on call, they've got to have that response time of 30 minutes.
Mr. Chair, if I mean, I understand that 30-minute response time, but at the same time, with the lack of workers nowadays, I personally feel like there needs to be an exception made to that. We got to find workers where we can find them right now. Either that, or you got to do something. Thank you.
I understand the 30-minute response time, and I'd like to see it kept, but on the other hand, we are in a situation, I'd like to ask the manager at this point how he would feel about amending the rules to say a 45-minute, which would include most of Pueblo and the directions the other way that I think would cover a lot of people.
So part of it, I think, we done.
Yes. Well, I was waiting for a response.
He wasn't done.
I was asking the manager how he felt about that.
Maybe the question on your side, do we have any choice?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the people who have to deal with it. Gary started to say something.
You can't do that. You've got to have somebody be able to be here immediately. You can't wait 45 minutes and see what's going for help. It's ridiculous, and if you start bending rules like that, you're going to end up with people that are untrustworthy. You can't do it. It's not a situation where you give and give and give.
Mr. Chairman, I think I have the floor, and we'd like to come back to that. I was waiting for a response from the manager. This is a rule, probably in one of our procedural manuals. I don't think it's a state rule. And I think you should be able to adjust the rule to the situation at hand. Not you personally, but the board up here instructing you that. How do you feel about a 45-minute?
We've had employees here that have lived like in Pueblo West, but they had family here, so they stayed here during the weekends that they were on call for that week. You know, so there is some variance on it, but I also feel in the same sense that you keep extending that, we're gonna put ourselves in a dire situation. We do have some fantastic employees that if something did happen and they happen to be on call, that it was an emergency, I know our people would handle it to get the valve shut or whatever, but still, I don't wanna put that
Let me
back on
follow up
them.
on that question too. How do we fill the position?
That's the whole reason why I suggested
Yeah,
that.
I know,
is
and
how do you
I
fill the
understand
position? Because my question to you is would you rather have a couple of employees 45 minutes away or no employees, period? I mean, you get two in the hand
Or no?
or
And
none.
then,
So,
Well-
so Jim, what's our on-call status, and how often are people on call and for how long?
well, right now, it's almost every other weekend,
Normally, what would it be?
and normally would be about once a month.
Is that just for the weekend?
We're 12 on and 2 off.
Yeah.
Just turn around and ask a question. Jim, I haven't driven it lately. I don't know if you have. Maybe somebody else in here can answer this question. What is the time frame from the middle of Pueblo West to the plant?
No.
I live on the south side of town, and it's about 25.
Yeah.
I don't know south side of Pueblo, but what?
Well, she drives
Pueblo
from
West.
Pueblo West, she
Yes.
drives it all the
Yes,
time.
by the reservoir, it's 45 minutes.
Thank you. So 45 would cover most of Pueblo West?
If they're not on the third exit,
You
I
told
think
me
we-
from 5 to 10 minutes? I need people. I'm not, I'm trying to figure out a way to work within a time frame.
I'm trying to too.
And we can adjust that time frame as a board.
Mhm.
You need to tell us what you need to get that employee.
But like I said, even in that situation,
What
that
do you
15
need?
minutes, I need the people, is right off the bat. And
More money. No one's gonna drive from Pueblo West for 15, 16 bucks an hour for utility job. That's a bad infrastructure, short-handed. I mean, it's not anyone's fault. It's not your guys' fault or Jim's fault. It's just
Well,
stuff was neglected from previous
So I-
boards. And
if I may. I brought that up about 2 meetings ago. I actually got a couple phone calls after that meeting, calling me a few names, because everybody knows what happens if we raise everybody's pay. Okay, financial director, do we have the money to raise everybody's pay? So what do we gotta do to raise everybody's pay?
You gotta increase revenue.
We gotta increase revenue. What do we gotta do to increase revenue?
Sell more water.
Raise rates. Okay. So, this is a difficult decision, and we're gonna be probably called every name in the book by a lot of people. But I enjoy going to my shower, turning it on and getting water out of it. Okay? So, at this point, I really think we need to make a huge decision. And I don't think it can wait till budget time, guys. I think we need to look at salaries, figure out where we need to go with salaries, and we need to get it done. And we find the money for it, and I don't want to just raise rates ridiculously, but we got to compete with everybody else. And I agree with them, 15 bucks an hour. You can go to McDonald's right now. The McDonald's over by my house, or by my shop, is hiring floor people for 15 bucks an hour. If you work the kitchen, you make 18 bucks an hour. Okay, so I agree with him 100%.
Okay, I think we're moving off of it, kind of get fuzzy on the
Well,
topics here.
we're not, because we gotta get workers.
We do, we need to, so I think what we need to do is put that on maybe the agenda for next time for discussion on the, and in the meantime,
see what we can do as far as how the ads work and how we can get work.
Just high level, our budget for everything, water, sewer, parks and rec, golf is 4.5 million.
Right.
That's not a lot. And Greg, I totally agree with you. We've got to increase revenue somehow.
That definitely becomes an item, discussion item, and something we need to look at.
Look at governmentjobs.com.
I'm aware of salaries in same positions in same, either a little bit bigger towns but when you've only got 4.5 million to run everything.
Mr. Chairman,
It's
call
hard.
for a point of order, we need to get back to the
We
agenda.
need, yeah, we need to do it. Greg, did you have something that was,
Yeah. Back to your 45 minutes, we're dumping 20,000 gallons in 15 minutes. We don't have 45 minutes.
okay, point well taken. Okay.
Okay, anything else, old business?
Yes,
I want to go through this list. We've got the covenant lawyers, we understand where we're at on that one. The security cameras, where are we at on that?
I haven't had,
The firewall switches, I've received no calls to discuss.
we haven't been able to get together to get with Jason a
Well,
time slot.
I had 2 back-to-back audits and I spent 7 days, solid days on the emergency services. So I worked last week on financials and I've been training for 3 months. And so that's where I'm at and we will try to get to it next.
Thank you.
old business. One that wasn't on the list is our Tabor position as far as going for Tabor.
Yeah, so with that, I didn't put it on. With Tabor, like I said, if we want to put it in on the election, which I don't know whether it would be good with all the negative that we have going on with, and being short time to get it into November, whether it would be wise to do it. I don't know. It's,
Mr. Chairman,
and
I
after,
offered to kind of head up a presentation committee on that, as far as doing,
Who did it?
if we decide to, if we decide to go that way.
okay,
And we would need to do that, definitely. We would need to do that presentation. Not for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I voted against it the first time because I believe that we need to show the people that we can handle the money we've got. We're not doing that until we get the enterprises set and show that we're not having to give it back when we're asking to keep it all. So with that said, I think we should delay Tabor for 1 year and look at it again, but that's my opinion, not the board's.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
I'm a little bit along his lines on that, since we've got everything going on right now. So I got one question though, because you piqued my interest earlier when you said the auditor said that we could put them both into enterprise funds this year and account for this year.
but that's one of the things I've got to get back with Sam and say, if we do put them this year, is it, like Bob said, as of that date, or will it cover us for the whole year?
That's what I'm wondering, is if it backdates it to the beginning of the year.
I can set the date at anything. This is the date I chose.
I know, that's
No.
what I'm saying though, so we set the date back and we put those into enterprise funds as of the first of this year instead of the first of next year. That way, those two entities that are making us money right now are not, won't cost us,
And see if we can do that.
and see if we can do that.
Yeah.
Because if we can do that, then we can delay Tabor for a year, allow us to get some of this stuff taken care of, and then we can approach it with a little bit more organization.
Is it reviewed to this call special election? You have an election, I'm sorry.
Do you have an election
We got an election next
You have an
year.
election next year.
in May? You can do it as a special district election.
Eric?
We don't want to miss the window. So we need to decide, we need to know so we can make a decision before that window for decabering expires next week. We may have to have a special election to, a meeting to say we are going to
Yes or no?
yes or no on enterprises, if I'm reading you guys right now, effective if it, because you're talking about what, $200,000 we may have to send back to the state if we don't decaber?
I don't think we have a number right now,
But-
Sam's working on it.
It won't be that high, I don't think.
What was it last year?
35,000.
35.
35,000 we have to send back to the state.
And that was, my guesstimate of looking at it was right about 65.
But we need to find out from the auditor then,
That's,
if we do put the campground and if we put the golf course into enterprise effective at the beginning of the year, if we can backdate it.
yeah, and that's what my question is gonna be.
When is the deadline for Tabor?
I have to have, mutual agreement signed by the 23rd for the election.
So 12 days, or,
Yeah, and that's before the next.
Mr. Chairman,
which I'm open to a special meeting if we have to do it.
I'd like to request a special meeting in 1 week to settle this matter.
Okay, that's,
Tuesday 1 week.
I think that'd be fine now. If you find out that from the auditor, it doesn't make sense for us to,
Okay,
then we can cancel the meeting.
that way I can get with the, election committee and get their, mutual agreement.
Well, if it doesn't, well, that's not quite, if it doesn't make sense to have the meeting, you're gonna have to decaber.
Well, we've already approved that, haven't we?
Well, no, we have to have a meeting to put it in motion to get it on the board, on
No,
We
the,
already
just,
approved it.
we
We
just
approved
need
it
to
last-
have that, and then the next following meeting, we'll have a resolution as to our ballot initiative.
The IGA.
The IGA is what I need to have signed now before our next meeting. And then at our next meeting, then we'll have the resolution that has our ballot initiative.
Because, yeah.
just don't wanna miss that window.
We don't know until the auditor
Yeah.
tells us either.
That's right. Move on, I'm
All
sorry.
right, moving on to any other old business. Moving on to new business.
New business, water restrictions, where do we wanna go? I gave in your packets, you have, level 2, level 3, and the level 4 at what we have. Level 2, I think it was 3 days on the south side of 165, or if you wanna do it odd and even numbers like we did on level 3, where one side of the street waters, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the even.
Jim, what is your recommendation for the restrictions going forward?
I talked to Gary today and the water plant, as we have turned down our skids, we're not producing as much as we have. I feel that we could take off restrictions at this point and see where we're at, and by next meeting, if we need to, put them, move to whatever level. But I think we are producing enough water and our tank levels are staying at the levels we need, and I've been
Chairman, I
seeing.
move to accept the manager's recommendation on water restrictions.
To remove them?
I accept his recommendation. He's saying remove them or restrict them, whatever he's saying at this moment, I'm accepting.
So you're basically willing to put it back in
Yes.
Could you amend that to say that?
Mr. Chairman, I move until the next meeting to allow manager's discretion on water restrictions at this point.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? How do you vote? Chair votes yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Mr. Hofstadter?
Yes.
Okay, passed.
Okay, next, we added the public hearing posting. New motion by the board to post a public hearing for
Golf course?
golf course enterprise.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion at this time to post a public hearing to transition the golf course from government into enterprise. And the 30-day posting.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? My discussion still comes into, what date was that public hearing? Are you not?
30 days.
30 days.
At least 30 days.
I'll have to look at,
That could stretch that out to the next.
You have to look at the I don't have that calendar.
September 15th or 14th. September 14th would be where the public hearing would be.
And we have until then to figure out,
To just make this
To make
review.
a
And
decision.
talk about
And talk
it
about
at that meeting.
Yeah.
Is that enough time?
should be, because
Yeah.
we're gonna have the auditor stuff here and
Yeah,
just,
and we'll know.
we'll have that before the special meeting.
Before the
So we'll have
special meeting.
enough time to get information.
Yep.
I'll call the question.
Mr. Kraus, on board?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yeah.
Mr. Hofstadter?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Okay, next on agenda is CCACC. Like I said, you have in front of you 6 houses. One of them is not accepted by them. The measurements, which is the 4822 Isabella Drive, it was not within their, not able to get a proper setback on it.
I make a motion that we approve all of them except, the one on Isabella Street.
4822 Isabella Drive.
Yes.
I'll second this motion.
Moving second, discussion? How do we vote? Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Mr. Hofstadter?
Yes.
Mr. Cook? No. Chair votes yes.
As for actions, I had 3 complaints brought to the committee. They wrote them up, recommending to send letters out. We have sent out everyone up to this point.
Which section is that in, Jim?
It's going to be right behind the last section, the blue section. You have all your charts and stuff. It'll be the last 4 or 5 pages.
I have a question, so who's we sending them out? We don't have any help.
Yeah, it's me.
These are first letters or second letters?
There'll be first letters for these 3.
Oh, Applewood, Gwen Verde, and Santa Fe Drive. I make a motion that we have him send out the first letters to those, even though it's just, he doesn't have any help to do this until we get some help in the office.
We can authorize it.
Yeah. that'd be-
Mr. Chairman, I need a notation of the actual addresses.
One is 2856 Applewood. Other one is 4715 Corona Verde and 4755 Santa Fe Drive.
Mr. Chairman, due to the, address of Applewood Court,
Well,
I carry POA on that address and will be recusing myself from any vote or discussion on that address. Please do not combine them.
So here, you wanna review your motion?
Redo my motion to send out letters to, 2856 Applewood Court, 4715 Buena Verde Boulevard, and 4755 Santa Fe Drive. First readings.
You wanna,
We need to break them up.
Yeah, need to break them up?
There's two, onto your motion to.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I make a motion that we send out a letter to 2856 Applewood Court.
I'll second that.
Move in second, discussion? Well, do we have discussion on
I can't discuss with the board member, but I'm willing to step out front as a property owner because I carry POA on that property.
that? Do you have something to say about it that we don't want to hear?
I don't know if you want to hear it or not.
I call the question.
You can't, we haven't settled discussion. Are you going to allow me to speak as a property owner?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, as you know, I carry POA on that particular property. This is covenant control. Covenant, is stated. The complaint that was given to me, one of them was for weeds. There's no such covenant. So you need to be careful when you start sending out letters that have nothing to do with the covenants. And that's coming to you as a property owner.
Okay,
it falls,
Okay.
what was the complaint?
it falls under, let me grab it.
Mr. Chairman, it seems that you're wanting to send out letters without knowledge of the covenants.
I think one of the things that we don't have is recommendations from CCC.
The committee.
Yeah, we don't have recommendations on these projects.
That's what he's getting right now.
Well,
That's why they came to the conclusion that it was all.
we still don't have, they have not given us a recommendation whether we should or should not. These.
Maybe those three, maybe I withdraw my motion, we just table this till we have CCAC members present.
These three properties have not been constructed.
Well, I assume they had been.
Okay?
I was assumed these had come from the, these are just complaints that were here, filed here. Okay, then I withdraw my motion, and I make a motion that these three properties be forwarded to the CCAC Volunteer Committee for review.
I don't think you need a motion for that. They have it for review.
Okay.
But I would suggest that these have not been processed yet.
Okay. We got the cart before the horse.
You're following your noxious and offensive.
Okay, so, just real quick, if I may, have these been processed through the CCACs?
Yes,
They have been processed?
yes,
And their recommendations were to send out the letters?
yeah.
And the recommendation on 2856 Applewood Court was because they feel that it falls under noxious and
Offensive.
offensive.
I don't
So-
think, Mr. Board of Directors,
I have a,
as a property owner, I'd like to inform you that if you wish to tell me to cut a weed, you will tell me what height to cut that weed to.
so, have we sent out letters to other members of the community
Yes,
for the weeds?
yes.
Which one?
I have to go through, let's see here.
I know some metro property that has a lot of noxious
Yeah,
weeds in it.
we're getting to that part in a minute.
Yeah. There we go.
I think it just needs to be cleaned up. When we're looking at the listing, anything there, it just needs to be taken care of. I don't care if it's cut 6 inches tall or a foot tall, it just needs to be cleaned up.
May I ask, if a complaint comes in about property, does it necessarily have to be against a covenant that is written on that property? Or
Yes.
does it does, okay.
I had one on Lunar that we sent out.
That's all we're allowed to
It was,
enforce.
it was trash, furniture, weeds.
You may have thrown weeds in, but you listed trash. There was no trash in the complaint.
Okay, well, there isn't.
I think I called the question.
One of the things that was with part of the complaint was it's abandoned home, boarded up windows, weeds and grass, unmown and overgrown, eyesore and health hazard. It's what the complaint, original complaint was.
And the board, the volunteer board, went out, looked at it, processed the complaint, and said that,
Because there was pictures that came in with the complaint.
and says they agreed with the complaint.
Mr. Board, in those pictures, does it show boarded up windows?
So we have a property owner present.
Mm-hmm.
Because of having a property owner present, I'm not so sure we need to send that property owner such a letter. We need to ask that property owner to clean the place up.
That would be, I agree. I agree 100%. So, man,
Yeah.
so, as a property owner, sir, we received a complaint in here. Will you be willing to go out there and cut the weeds and clean the place up?
I'm willing to mow the property. I don't have the weed problem you keep naming. I've let the grass grow exceptionally tall so it would go to seed because I didn't want to buy seed. I am willing to mow the lawn.
So,
There is no boarded up windows. The property has a CO on it. It can be lived in at any time.
This doesn't address boarded up windows. It says
He
siding
said
falling
there are
off.
no boarded
Yeah,
up.
but it says that the complaint
But that
says
was the
weeds.
original complaint that
Oh.
they did say.
are you willing to, as a property owner, are you willing to make the place presentable?
I'm willing to mow the grass. I will not get into a debate of what somebody considers presentable unless you're willing to look at every home in the neighborhood.
I think that we as a board have to
That's
work with the property owner. And if that's not adequate, then we have another complaint.
Yes. So, he's done absolutely, he's probably done more than any other property owner in this city by addressing us and telling us he will mow the grass. If you want to call it grass or weeds, whichever you would prefer.
As
to
a
call it.
property owner, I have plans to mow the grass, but I stand here and warn the board that mowing grass is not under noxious and obnoxious. You need to read the law.
Okay.
Offensive.
Okay, so, I guess, is your motion still standing?
I withdraw my motion since you did a verbal confrontation with the homeowner and worked the resolution, so I withdraw my motion.
Again, I don't think you need a motion.
No, we don't need a motion.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Now, I'll make a motion I'll make a motion on the next two items. That we send letters out to 4715 Quinto Verde Boulevard and 4755 Santa Fe Drive. The first letter sends out.
Motion be made, do I have a second?
I'll say.
Motion second, discussion? Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak. Are you claiming weeds on those property owners?
What's the complaints?
It's actually cars. The one on Corno
All of the
Verde, there's
complaints.
cars that are parked all over the lot, different ways, that haven't been moved for
The
probably.
document I received also listed weeds on those. Are you sending a letter to cover the weeds?
Well, yes, it has weeds on
Mr.
there.
Chairman, I'd like to speak on the weeds. There is no covenant that covers mowing grass or weeds. It does now come under noxious and obnoxious. If you would like to force people to cut their weeds or their grass, you must show in the covenants the length that is to not exceed. I don't believe you can do that in the covenants. I yield. Other discussion?
So, if I may. The cars that are in these complaints, are they registered or not registered?
I couldn't tell because the weeds were too high. Does that answer your question?
Table, because you have no proof of a covenant violation.
So I couldn't go out and check that they are
You
registered.
cannot enter their property, but you can check from,
If
You can
I
check on
could
the street.
see,
yes.
but like you said, I couldn't.
At which
tell
time we
the
can
weeds.
turn it over to the county, can't we? Which is part of the covenants.
That's all the question.
Well,
Now, the motion on the table is.
to send them letters.
Send them letters.
Yeah, that's the motion.
Yes.
So, Ms. Thompson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson? Yes. Mr. Cook? No. Mr. Gordon? No. Mr. Collins?
I'm gonna vote no. It all comes down to you now.
So you get the big bucks.
I think we need more information. I'm gonna vote no.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. We're done?
That's all I have.
Correspondence? Correspondence?
No, I don't have any.
I'd like to make a statement.
Please do.
So, in the last, almost 2 hours, we've spent time using words like dire and death and various and sundry things. And I would be willing to bet that we've spent way more time on stuff that had nothing to do with water, nothing to do with hiring people, maybe not, maybe 50-50. And I would just remind the board that not only is Colorado City Metro District working understaffed right now, but it seems to me like the district manager has plenty to do. And if our volunteer board isn't big enough, I know we have at least one other person who's volunteered, then I don't think anything should happen on the covenant. I think Jim's primary job is water, sewer. And I think we waste a lot of his time when he's understaffed with not stuff that's trivial, but stuff that isn't anywhere near as dire or deadly as water and sewer. And I would like to see the CCACC as a perfect example. We have three members. We have another person who's at least indicated an interest. I don't think Jim should be involved in it at all. I think the only thing Jim should do is supervise that the complaints are taken in here so he can be working on water and sewer.
if we could get volunteers.
I don't even think we need volunteers. I think the CCACC has 3 people. If we want to try to get more, that's great. And if they get one thing done, it's one thing more than has been done for 147 years. If they get 5 things done, by gosh, we should have a party. And if they get 10 things done, we should take a holiday. But Jim Ecker should be working on water and sewer. And I apologize if I'm coming off as I just think we lose our priorities. We get hung up on things like, are we wasting rubber bands when the pipes are broken?
Mr. Carlson, I'd like to respond to that because basically you're right. And I want to point out that I was the board member that voted not to have the manager involved. This board chose, after it was set up, to then bring the manager into the system. It was written without the manager. So I agree with you.
So, I also agree. Now, how do we make that happen?
I'll tell you how we make it happen. And he's gonna squeal as loud as he can. But we do exactly what I said to begin with. We allow property owners to enforce the covenants, and we don't worry about it. Oh yeah, we can. It was abandoned for years. And you were the one that was screaming and hollering to bring it back.
You had a responsibility to a point. You didn't do it. Now you've made yourself.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
We have got limited staff, like I agree, 100%.
Clearly, I appreciate that comment. I think that, so I do think, and I would guess, the majority of us kind of agree with that issue, that we overloaded Jeff. So, as far as the process to make that happen, it's us that has to come up with a process to do that, not Jim. And I'm open to suggestions of a committee to do it, or how we do it. That would mean making a different resolution for the CCAC. So,
Man,
we'll adjust to that, making it, redoing basically the CCAC.
so we've put out volunteer lists. We've asked for volunteers now. For how many months?
45.
For not 45 months, but we've asked for volunteers now for well over a year. Okay, we've gotten a couple. Now, I'm not putting down the volunteers because the volunteers are volunteers, and they're doing what they can do. Okay, but they're obviously not able to get done the amount of complaints that comes into that office. Okay, we're getting complaints all the
So how are we
time.
going to do this?
Mr. Chairman, I think that to remove Jim completely from the picture isn't probably the wisest thing, because the complaints come through here. It's not like we have a complaint hotline someplace manned by the staff of diligent people who will take those down. So it still comes through here. But what I'm saying is, if Bob just had shoulder surgery and Rick is living mostly in Colorado Springs, and who's the third one?
Randy.
Had to leave the other day, then that's where it stops, right there. That the time savings is when Jim doesn't have to jump in the car and nurse Harry's foot that got a cactus in it and measure lot lines. If the volunteer board, and there's no more volunteers that we put on that board, isn't here, that's all. That's it. That's done. Because it is serious. I'm not ready to use death. So
That's
use
all right.
death if you want. but it is serious. So if Jim has called his Thursday meeting for the volunteers for the architectural control committee, and nobody shows up, that's it for that week. Because those three guys do a good job, and they are volunteers. But they could, summer's time, I mean, Bob was on vacation for a while, Rick was on vacation. Summer's when people take vacations. But Jim shouldn't be running around with a tape measure, measuring lot lines. He should be figuring out when we meet with the county commissioners again, and how we get this grant written, or, I mean, we just gotta keep our priorities.
I agree that the manager should be involved. Now, the board took it on themselves, so if you don't have volunteers, this board needs to get their tape measure and go out and do it. I've said in the past, I'm willing to go do some of it. I'm willing to go take some pictures. I'm willing to do some of that. As a board member that was stamped the paper that said, we'll do this. At this point, I make a motion to remove the manager from every instance in the rules and regulations except the one that says he authorizes the stop work order.
I think we'd be hasty to make that decision at 8:02 tonight. I think we need to think about it. But I think his forced wearing of that hat needs to be.
It wasn't forced, he chose that. They came to the board and said, we want the manager to do this.
But I think there's another issue there too, is once we start doing these complaints and things, then there's a timeline that we have established. And without the manpower and things, we can't fulfill those timelines in a proper manner.
Well, but that's what Bob was saying, that's what we said. Because we made ourselves the board.
Yeah, but I mean, we've gotta do something, but I mean, it's a work in progress, and we've made a lot of progress with it.
So, like you just go out today and measure. Well, when we don't have volunteers, that's what should happen.
See, and
One of us should do that.
I didn't have any problem with it, except Terry made a big deal of it.
But, Mr. Chairman, I do agree with Bob. Whoever's out there volunteering needs to have the covenants with them and know what. And there are things that are, you know, one man's weed is another crop that they can sell and smoke. I mean, it's just. But there's some things that are hard to define. But I do think we need to know some of the. I mean, obviously, you should have the covenants with you. Okay, is grass covered or not? I don't know. I haven't looked at them.
Mr. Craftsman, I respond to that.
You may.
We instructed the manager who hasn't had the time to pull from the courthouse an exact copy of the covenants. So we've already requested that, we just don't have it on hand, whether it's his lack of time or whatever. It's already in our rules that we will have that.
But remember that COVID came in.
I understand, that's
That's
why
why
I
that-
said, I just
yeah.
said,
Okay,
the
this
lack
is,
of time.
let's,
But
think
my
about it.
motion stands.
Yeah.
The motion stands? Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
What was the motion?
To remove the manager in all instances of the rules except for the rule where he has the power to sign the stop work order. That's the one we need him on.
You know, this is, I'll second it for discussion.
Second.
Recording in progress.
I have a question. What bothers me with that part there, if he's not involved in anything, then you're having him sign a paper he doesn't even know what the history is for all that thing.
No, I
think
don't see anything.
we need to work on this more than that. I don't think that's enough, because there's other things on there that,
the community has to as well, as far as sending out the letters and that kind of thing. So I call the question.
Okay.
Let's click on the vote.
Yes.
Chair votes no. Ms. Collins?
No.
Kraus? No. Ms. Roxanne?
No.
Motion carries. I do think, and that's not belittling that motion, I do think that we do need to work on this. And immediately, if we don't have volunteers, then we need to be volunteers. We need to jump in there and go out and measure that treasure. And
Yeah, we don't get enough volunteers.
We just need to do it.
If we don't get enough volunteers.
We have to do it. Yeah, we have to do it.
But we're dealing with complaints too. I mean, not building stuff, complaint stuff.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
Terry said, and we need to know what it is.
We just need to look at the whole thing over again, review it.
I would like to point out one thing, and this is going to be controversial, but that's what law does. We passed resolution 16-2019 to set up the architectural control committee, to make ourselves,
Architectural Advisory Committee.
no, the architectural committee. We became the architectural committee, not the advisory committee going to us. So this created basically an entity within an entity, that we would be the board. Now, when we did that, it says, and regulate the covenants of Colorado City Metropolitan District. Now, when's the last time you saw Lago Vista, South Park, North Park, Hollywood, or any of those people bring their covenants to you? Remember, they may have preceded us, but we included them. They were legally included within Colorado City Metropolitan District. In the smallest sense of the matter, if their HOA says, okay, we're going to do this, that HOA should then forward it to this board for final approval. This board has to approve all the covenants within the metro district. Just throwing that out for something to chew on. I think, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
We need to take some baby steps and move forward.
I was gonna say, we gotta learn to walk before we can run.
Can somebody make a motion for the
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Terry, before you leave, I need your signature.
I'm going for that new job.
Terry,
How you doing, bud? You having a good day?
Here's some hot things. His stuff right there.
Another paper made it to the printer, so
It's always a good day.
when that happens.
Always a good day.
Is there a on-call number? You know, like when Donnie, how's it going?
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
When Donnie was in that spot, you know, if we had a water emergency on a weekend or late in the evening, we
Call here and it goes straight to our on-call. Or you press 1 if it's an emergency and then it goes to on-call.
no,
Here. Or
rather
either
than
you can
go
call
to-
me.
but
My
yeah,
number.
I know, cause I know when all this stuff was going down, trying to get a hold of somebody was,
Yeah.
is the agent putting his number out there? Or is
He
he's
should
taking-
be. He should be.
taking place?
Yeah, and we're trying to get that. It's just,
Short end, huh?
yep,
It's
never ends.
Those report that you guys passed out at the beginning of this, is that available to the public?
For the timeline and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can get it to you. I think I have one
The
here.
other ones laying
Yeah.
around.
So that's wonderful.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up here. Catch them before they leave,
I was
cause
gonna say something before they got into the long-winded stuff at the end there.
Terry.
And
But
I don't know if they already do this or not, but you know, they're trying to get employees down here. What if they offer them something tangible that they have down here.
Well,
Like
that's-
free golfing
Well,
access
we do that. And,
for all employees.
yeah.
See, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, we do that, and
It still ain't enough.
yeah,
Free golfing and free drinks on Friday night. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you go.
We can go, maybe
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some people.
sorry, hang on. Yeah, if you would please.
I don't know.
I'm trying to find the other one. I just had it. I don't know what Harry did with it.
Maybe 4.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah, we
yours
got you
here.
He was so cold
Great.
about that.
Just
There
again,
you go.
we have to go out on service calls.
I probably thought he did a good job.
Could be, has it?
Damn, I got a pay increase?
You got everything signed?
I got a 100% pay increase.
I'm trying to find it. It was here. What'd you do with it?
I got time.
What did you do
Here's,
with it?
oh, here's Terry Kraus right here.
No, he's right here.
No, he's right there. That's the
Is
one.
it Terry, Harry?
Your job, tell me.
That was one from
Hey, I
February.
really don't like you voting for me when it's my turn to vote.
I know.
I really don't like that.
I'm gonna start calling you Tom. Then there will be no confusion.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it's,
I don't see how not with volunteers.
Yeah, not entirely. That's why you have to be involved in some way.
I mean, otherwise we're all
yeah, he can't be on the hot seat all the time.
It's right there on freaking Double Boulevard. They have the wages up there.
But
I saw that.
And you
Lots of First person
They
in
ain't
freaking
gonna-
stream to me over cold fries, I'd probably take it all. But
yeah, you're probably right.
But it's still, I mean, it's gonna come down to those dumpsters in Applewood, and I'm gonna say, we made a big decision in talking about those, cause they're all over the city, and it's just on Applewood, and we have no
I
alleys.
drove, I had a few minutes before the meeting, and I drove around, I ended up back
No,
where you can't even get through again.
Already,
And every house has a brush.
Yeah, they're all over, and so it's just on Applewood.
Need your
And you can
signature.
enforce it, cause you have to fence it on everything, and you have to have a truck to empty it.
like I said, I'm used
So I
to
think
being
it's
called
something we
names, so
should
it
just,
don't matter. Don't call
I
me
mean,
names.
you make
That's
my
for
fun of,
the
you make fun of me one more time.
amendment of the rule.
Sir, I'm not gonna back off, I'm gonna right on my chair and come over there and slap you silly.
That'd be good. It'd be all right.
And then
I give
one more.
elders the benefit of the doubt.
There goes
Hold
your
on.
Joey.
Hold on. Don't leave. Don't leave.
Why?
You got one
Damn
more.
it.
Give me the. Yes,
What do you
I
mean?
got you.
What do you mean? I feel him.
Kneel for government. Kneel for government. There you go. It's
yeah,
for
yeah.
the
Oh, there's the baby
indemnity
one.
resolution.
I'll drive over and see my wife and my sister-in-law and brother.
Okay, see you at 8.
I'll be at
Thank you.
Seriously, I mean, come up with those numbers.
Well,
The only thing I'll ask you
In our free time, 12 of them in our free time.
sure.
But we don't have it. Right now, we're just trying to get things going.
Price of my 9mm went from $10 a box last year to $25 to $29 a box.
I need guts too, because that's when we're missing from pictures. So you can just download it to the website.
You got it now?
Can you do a
That's the
Facebook
only
post
option that's got.
about no water restrictions?
What other
I will
options?
do that tonight.
I'm
And
going
then however we need, I don't know if we have
Grants
access
and
to the
stuff help with
website.
infrastructure, but grants aren't gonna pay salaries.
I do. We'll have to get you on there too.
Yeah, because that's something that's easier for me to
But that
take
can
care
help
of
us,
than
right?
yourself when you're in the middle of it.
And right this instant, we need to get some employees.
I don't know if I'm gonna
Yeah,
get those.
I'm all on board if we can figure out a way.
There we go. Get started.
Other excess money.
Sign.
Or maybe we can lower water and sewer rates later on.
And then I think I'll have everything signed.
I don't know, but, I mean, I've been in a situation, I was in Bill Clinton's Air Force, okay? I know all about guns. Okay, he got us.
Don't get him started on the
Don't-
politics.
I was gonna say, don't get me started on cuts, 'cause I was there when there was 8 crew chiefs per plane, and we went about 3 months a year, TDY, to when there was 2 crew chiefs per plane, and I was spending anywhere from 10 to 11 months on it. So I know all about cuts and how government works with that
I
crap.
don't want to make any cuts, I just want to make
Well, then the only way we do it is raise rates, for now.
I want
Maybe we can get grants and stuff, that's what we can work on,
Yes.
but we gotta have a problem to solve right
Okay,
now.
that it? Yeah. Now I think I caught up with all the
And I
minutes,
pay a
all
water
the,
bill just like everybody else, and I'm probably gonna be up there at the front of the thing screaming about how expensive my water bill is. But at the same time,
Don't you call here.
is it,
you just might have, hey, what the hell are you people doing now?
I don't build my own water plant.
Don't you
I
call
will
here,
build my
Greg.
own water plant, and I'm gonna take your water right to you.
Good, that's good, have fun with it.
please?
Okay, so,
I know Donald Chuck, I was
Everything
a
okay?
joining party.
all right,
I'm good.
So,
We're
anyway,
good until tomorrow morning.
if we don't, guys, you know, Joe and 2 left is gonna be here as soon as, well, it's not gonna be, but it's gonna be board, and I'm gonna resign, by the way, when that happens.
I'm running the governor, so I'm gonna fix it all.
Mind your way.
Run for governor and fix everything.
But that's the only way we're
Promise
gonna do
everybody
it.
everything.
And if you'll come to us with next board meeting, not next week, not the emergency one, but the next board meeting, if you and Jim will come to us with an action plan on this, we can get it done. We can amend the budget, and we
Well,
can
let me
change things.
just throw this at you too, because this is what I have to deal with. Our revenues are down, water revenues are down $64,000 from projections, which are based on a 3-year average. We're $64,000.
We haven't had a drought this year.
And we're also down from the water project, so now
So
we're
we had
down
a drought and had more
120,000.
water.
Yeah,
So
but
that wasn't a problem.
But,
No, Bob. We had a drought and they used more water. Come on, Einstein, you know what's going on here.
So you sold more water, so
Yes.
why are you down?
because you had
Because
too
we
much
didn't sell
rain.
water.
You had too much
we
rain.
went on emergency restrictions, we're still on level 4.
Come on, Bob. You're not, you're just being an ass right now. You know exactly what's going on. Hey, just because they're standing here doesn't mean I ain't gonna call you out on
So these are the things I'm facing with, and the numbers don't lie, right? It's like-
it. Well,
We're down like
Every time
120,000
they
right
raise the
now.
rates, people cut the grass out. So that means less revenue.
it's less revenue.
Kind of a vicious loop, isn't it?
It is.
It is. And then the other vicious loop is the fact that we're having to make water to keep in the system that's leaking it all over the countryside.
Quiet.
Oh, boy.
Well,
Instead of listening to the bullshit. Make sure I've got everything. Alright, see you, Neil.
Yeah, that's what the tanks are for. That's still.
I'll get it to you tomorrow and get them all taken care of.
I'm sorry.
And,
We're still leaking it all over the countryside.
Yeah, the siding's falling off.
I mean, it's
Look at that piece right there.
That's true, that is true.
Fix it, Bob. You got a screwdriver somewhere.
Thanks, Neil.
the sky is falling.
That's exactly how you need to make that letter
The
sound.
sky is falling.
Is the sky's falling and the world's coming to an end. And if you don't, I'm serious about that. If you need help, I will gladly sit down with you and help you on this. I mean, not that I know anything more than you do, but
Like I said, you know what happens is you have government works at a snail's pace.
oh, I know. Drives me nuts, but I
Stay
know.
overnight, Christina.
I should.
It's really like tall.
I need to-
Doesn't tall
You
out.
said what,
8:30.
8:30? Okay. That's fine.
Well, last time I said no, and yeah, I still got an alarm, so I'm gonna suck it up, and I'll probably be here by 8, but you know.
And she is doing all the time.
Good, good. My reputation was on
I
the line.
know this.
She said, oh, that's all I can do is that. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Oh, shit.
She's really good, Dave.
Oh, I know. I didn't want to give her to you guys, trust me. But she deserved a better wage than what I could give her. So, she was working for me. And when he wanted help. I recommended her the first time, but he didn't listen to me.
Well, we tried.
No, we called her. We called her.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
She didn't call back?
So we thought, well, maybe she wasn't that interested.
No.
Or
I-
try another
I think
job.
something-
Yeah.
I think something just happened.
I think so too, but where we are now, I'm excited because I don't wanna spend another 3 months training Ray, cause that
And
takes me
she's-
off my
She's-
desk.
She's awesome.
She's-
I just
she's-
hope that she moves up here so the gas prices don't kill her. The other thing is that we can get some wage increases. So, I mean, I know you got like 5 gazillion things to do, but if we wanna bring it into this losing, hemorrhaging people all over the damn place,
Yep.
we gotta do it, and we gotta do it quick.
And I agree, but if we go over our budget, we break state law. Then
We
I
go-
get into
we
trouble
can-
with
no,
the
we
state.
can amend the budget, and we can
But we have to
amend
see
the
where the
budget.
money's coming from. We can't
Well,
just amend it.
Yeah, but we can
So
figure it
let's
out.
just say we,
It might have to come out of depreciation.
it might have to do
If
that.
it's gotta
So
come out of depreciation,
We
it's got
say
to.
we are gonna increase this 50,000 here, I need to know where is that money coming from, because all the money in the budget is already,
I understand that.
Yeah.
And then, and we don't, can we raise rates midterm? Can we raise rates in the middle of the year?
that I don't know. Can we raise rates in
I
the
don't
middle?
think so.
We gotta wait till the beginning of the year. So we gotta do a
Go into the
stopgap
next
measure,
one, yeah.
to get the stuff done until the beginning of the year. And then cover it with rates. And trust me, I pay water and sewer, I don't wanna raise the freaking rates, but at the same
Well,
time,
and here's.
I enjoy the fact